Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Blunt Conversations, hosted by Blunt Brunch. This episode is sponsored by Fourtwenty Collections. Fourtwenty Collections is a minority and women-owned luxury skincare, edibles, and apparel line. From luxury soaps to indulgent brownies to 420-friendly flat fashion, their CBD-infused skincare line, THC-infused medible line, and cannabis-inspired fashion will make you glow inside and out. Fourtwenty Collections handcrafts their luxury skincare and indulgent edibles to enhance your self-care regimen. Through your purchases at Fourtwenty Collections, it is also able to provide resources such as personal care items and healthcare assistance to organizations like nonprofit Start Living Recovery. Now, by using their products, you're helping improve the quality of life for those in need. So thank you again, Fourtwenty Collections, for being this week's sponsor. Now, for the month of March, we are covering the lasting impact of women in business. This month, we are celebrating this Women's History Month from a business standpoint, which means we're taking a good look at some of the impact women have had in the business world. The contributions women have made throughout so many industries have been historic, impactful, and worthy of praise. Now, before I introduce you to our guest, I wanted to remind you all that we are streaming live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So wherever you're joining us from today, please let us know in the chat. Feel free to join the conversation. Send us questions. We want to hear from you as we are joined by our special guest today. Now, with that being said, this week I am so honored to introduce you to Vanessa Oliver. Vanessa Oliver is the CEO of Cloud9 Studios. Cloud9 Studios is actually a horizontally integrated event studio serving the multicultural consumer market through a series of cannabis-friendly lifestyle events, such as Cannabis Wedding Expo, Infin8ly Elevated Events, and the Cannaluxxe Wellness Experience. They inspire opportunities for people to discover, learn, explore, interact, and strengthen their fluency of conscious consumption. Now, with that being said, I'm so honored to introduce you all to also a dear friend of mine, Vanessa Oliver.
Hey, thank you so much, Adelia. I'm so excited to be here. Hey, everybody.
Yes, I'm always, I always enjoy our conversations. It's always a good time. So I'm excited that you're here joining us for Women's History Month.
Yes. Come on, ladies. Like, we have been coming through, and I am so excited to just see how we are all just flourishing, not even just this month, but this year. So, man, like everything that we're doing, all the challenges, all the successes, just keep pushing forward. That's all I can really say right now. And this right here embodies exactly why, we're doing so well in this industry, is just supporting one another. So again, thank you, Adelia, for having me here.
Of course. We have Rose joining us today from Sierra Vista, Arizona as well. Thank you, Rose. Now, Vanessa, first, of course, I'm always thrilled, like I said, to have you join us on Blunt Brunch. You are somebody that I admire and I look up to for all the different things that you are doing and how you are impacting us and impacting this plant. You have paved the way by your hard work and your inspiration. But let's go back, to the beginning really quick. What was it that really drew you into this industry?
Ooh. Honestly, first of all, cannabis most definitely found me. I never thought, I knew I would never be in this industry. But like so many stories before me and stories that will come after me, she revealed things to me that I didn't know were possible. Rewriting a narrative that we've all been told that is simply just not true. And it isn't a matter of being woke. It was a matter of being healed physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Seeing the value she brought into my relationship with her was enough to inspire me to be in service to others. I've been doing events now for years. I'm constructing moments and memories that instill happiness and it's not just because I'm good at what I do in terms of planning. It's because I love people, which is emphasizing and loving others. And it really excites me to create a space where people can feel at ease with being themselves, or being a part of something that resonates joy, something that they enjoy. And if I can implement another layer to that, which is the opportunity to help others embody wellness through conscious consumption, I'm going to do that. So that is how I found my way into this industry.
And, from personal experience and just seeing the magic come to fruition, like at these events, you really do that. You touch all the different touch points, a lot also with providing a clear understanding of the educational component. And it is a really safe environment. All your events, in all the different ways that you enhance them, they do that. And it's so beautiful to see, really.
That is good to hear.
Sometimes we need to hear that, you're doing it right. Now, with what you are building now, because Cloud9 Studios is something that has now kind of merged into creation, correct? What can you share more about Cloud9 Studios, and even too at the end, how others can get involved?
Yeah, for sure. So as we said, Cloud9 is a horizontally integrated event studio. And what that means is that we produce a series of experiential shows that are defined by a distinct lifestyle trend. So the Cannaluxxe Wellness Experience is the way in which we understand our own human design, and how we implement intentional practices and use wellness to support us in living out our highest potential. Infin8ly Elevated educates, advocates, and essentially bridges resources for new consumers. Cannabis Wedding Expo, which is self-explanatory, but it's showcasing how you can use cannabis to uplift the wedding experience. All are separate experiences, but yet they are cohesive under one message, which is the way we build comprehension on a global scale. We look to align with brands in the multicultural market, whether your industry is cannabis, wellness, events. Industry brands and service providers are essentially the bridge between the education and the consumer's comprehension. And so when we're working with brands, we always want to make sure that we have them forward facing towards consumers. So that said, we have 3 events coming up on April 3rd or April 23rd after 420. We have Infin8ly Elevated is hosting a private event in San Ramon for a group of 40 women, all relatively new to the relatively new cannabis consumers. There we go. Who want to learn how cannabis can enhance their sex lives. These ladies love sex, I'm telling you. And so we created this event just for them. It's called the Cannaluxxe Pamper Party. We have the 420 sexologist there as a sex and intimacy coach. We have Amy from Calm Better Days. Come Amy, who is going to be doing a CBD education shop. We have the Dope Duchess. They're doing a burlesque show. We have Naked X Oil and Kiss Canoe for the on-site spa services, and a mobile boudoir to really help these ladies get in touch with their sensuality while they're learning about the cannabis and their sexuality. So there's that. And then also too, these ladies are a part of a global group of 7,000 women. It's a private group. So we will be doing an online showcase of this event for those ladies that can't be there. And so again, if you are a brand provider or a service provider and you align with sexual health and intimacy, contact us and we'll talk about how you can participate in this event. We also have the Cannaluxxe Wellness Expo that is coming up on June 19th to commemorate Juneteenth. And this is showcasing at the Foundry in Queens, Long Island, New York. This is very much a one-day wellness academy and spa experience with courses in cannabis recovery, CBD biology, meditation, human design, also an on-site, full-service on-site spa, 4-course gourmet dining experience, vendor shopping market, the whole shebang. So there's a lot to participate in as a service provider and a vendor. And if you want to participate, just go to our website, and that is like the perfect place to start.
Yes, yes. Well, those events sound amazing. We have in the audience, I believe it was, yes, Rose. She agrees. She's like, these sound amazing. So that sounds like a lot of fun. And what's really exciting is seeing, you said this one, the second event was in New York.
Yes.
Yeah. So New York, yeah, and New Jersey, it seems like things are really picking up there from an event standpoint of them wanting to learn or connect. And I'm really excited to hear and see how this event goes over there.
Absolutely. Well, New York is really what I love about New York, which I feel like separates it from California, is they're really embodied community. And that's why this event was so perfect there, because, just in the sense, especially in the cannabis market and social equity, they are on lock about really elevating each other. And so I'm so excited to be in that market.
Oh, that's good. I can't wait to hear all about it after. That's so exciting. And again, for those that are interested in learning more, you said they can find out more on your website?
Yes, they can find it on our website. And I did mention there were actually 3. So with the Cannaluxxe, there is the New York show, and then we will be in Las Vegas in October.
Oh, cool. Okay. Perfect. Now, now as we kind of change gears and go more into questions around, Women's History Month and empowerment, our first question is, as a woman, what are the most significant barriers that you personally have had to overcome to thrive in your role, in the industry, or in the workplace? So in that kind of scope.
So as a Black woman, I have to put extra emphasis in advocating for myself and setting boundaries for my mental health. Yeah. When you're being asked to show up in business and parenthood and community leadership and as a friend and as a family member, you get to the point where you're just like, how do I have time for all of this? It can be a very frustrating and vicious cycle that impacts our confidence and the way in which we view ourselves. We are constantly dealing with challenges that some days are like, make it make sense. Okay. Like funding and growth, a huge challenge, because lo and behold, it takes funding to get funding. I was listening to Kira Reed the other day from Women Empowered in Cannabis. And she said, you don't just wake up and say, hey, I'm going to fundraise today, and suddenly start getting all this seed money. No, it's a long-term commitment. And she's right. Every day is about making a choice to commit through uncertainty and doubt and fear. Funding, that's a commitment. Bootstrapping, that's a commitment. Managing a team, that's a commitment. Marketing, whether it's strategic or social media, that's a lot of commitment. Answering emails, a commitment. Keeping up with our mental health, a commitment. But, at least with that, we got cannabis to support us, right? So the most significant barrier across the whole board is the resources to empower us through all of these commitments. So that would be the biggest barriers for me.
Yeah, no, so true. And, as looking back on your career, what are maybe one or two moments, do you give credit to as a turning point? And at that time when you were going through it, did you know at all that this is going to be a monumental moment for me?
I'm going to get a little candid with you here, Adelia. So the first was my divorce in 2020. It was a very traumatic experience, one where I remember I was sitting down and I was just crying, and I said, at this rate, I can either sink or I can swim. And I knew the choice that I was going to make was monumental, not just mentally in my head of making a choice. I knew what my desire was, but I was going to have to take inspired action to get there. And that's the hardest part. And, and I wasn't sure to what extent I was going to be able to make it happen. I didn't know the how. And if you told me I would be where I am today after making that decision, I would have been like, you're crazy. You're crazy. That ain't gonna happen. But at that time, I had committed to a daily routine that included cannabis, meditation, journaling, and exercising, and also really practicing a mindset, a growth mindset, that I was going to be an example to my children and to myself. And that really branched out to becoming an example for other women that were going through the same situations that I was, whether it be, they were going through a divorce, or they dealt with domestic violence, or women in business, or, in all scales. It really, we all connected at the heart of, what I was trying to embody, at least for myself. So that was such a pivotal personal moment that gave me the drive to invest into this industry. The second, many know, was Cannabis Wedding Expo. And not just Cannabis Wedding Expo, my partner with the Cannabis Wedding Expo, Philip Wolf. I joined the expo during the pandemic, and events were plummeting to non-existent. So many question, like, well, and Event High, you understand how events were going. Like, who does that? Like, on an event company when events are all shutting down. Yeah. But again, when you're in a growth mindset, after enduring the level of trauma that I had just endured during my event, everything is an opportunity.
Yeah.
So what was beautiful about the Cannabis Wedding Expo was not just my personal growth in the industry, but how it impacted my community growth and my spiritual growth. Philip was a huge part of my spiritual growth. Much of what I took to drive my purpose in Cloud9 was inspired by observing, interacting, and learning through the challenges of Cannabis Wedding Expo. Not to mention, Philip now is he is family to me.
Yeah.
And so those were all pivotal pieces, and where I am at now, even just talking to you.
Well, thank you for being candid about that, that first one. And even too, being able to look back on it now and kind of not laugh on that moment, but laugh and be like, I wouldn't picture myself where I'm at right now or who I am right now. But I am thankful that it did bring you here and that you are a part of this community, because I don't want to get all sentimental, but, to be able to call you a friend, not just a colleague. It's just been an amazing journey.
It sure has, girl.
So, in the past years, we've looked at Women's History Month as covering the experience of all women. But in fact, white women have had great strides in the last decade towards equality. While women of color, we continue to be faced with additional hurdles. And on top of that, a massive pay gap. How can we ensure that we're amplifying the voices and concerns of women like us?
I talk about inspired action for ourselves, but it's important in terms of inspired action for others, and not just inspired action in the moment, but linear action. There is a pattern that I've recognized in terms of this discrepancy, and a lot of that is with women sometimes, especially with women, you can feel the hurdles as a woman, but if you're not a woman of color, you sort of have the privilege of not having to resonate with that additional heavy layer, that heavy burden. And so, yes, let's talk about Black History Month and Asian American History Month and Latin American History Month, but show up all year long. Let's not just talk about it, let's do. And, this is an action that we have talked about for years upon years. And it's important to show up when nobody's looking, and nobody is liking on social media. We don't have to broadcast it as a philanthropy mission, because we're too busy living it as a practice in our business and in our lives. And also, we're too busy collaborating with women of color and buying their products and prompting services and forging authentic relationships, inclusivity in our marketing, creating products that actually, resonate with, the health and wellness that embodies their culture. All of this takes a tremendous amount of effort, but it's so easily done when, again, we can just connect with one another, and we connect with each other in such an authentic way that it becomes like drinking water. It's that easy.
Love that. I love that. Living with intention in all aspects, including that route. You put it together so beautifully. We have Rose who's sharing, it's heavy to have that narrative hanging out with your life dreams every day. She is Black and female, so the work never stops, she says. Mm-hmm. We've spoken about, barriers that you've faced, but what challenges do you see that women are being faced with today in the workforce? And with that, what advice would you give women looking to advance their career? It's kind of a two-sided question, but yeah.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question again? It kind of bundled in my head.
Yeah. And maybe I'll separate it. So the first one is, what challenges do you see that women are facing today in the workforce?
Oh, pressure. And it's not even pressure from the community. A lot of it is pressure on ourselves because we're so invested into what the community thinks about us. So we are telling ourselves that we have to get it perfect, that we cannot make mistakes. We cannot fail. We have to do it all, and if we do make mistakes, we really get on ourselves and we are not our own best friend to say, no, girl, it's okay. You got this, the same way that we do with other people. So in the workforce, it's this collective pressure that we put on ourselves. And I feel like that intensity also kind of that energy goes out to other people where they feel like they have to be perfect too, And I think the other question you were saying was sort of the advice to give to women, which sort of starts segueing into that, is like the advice is to be okay with sharing your authenticity. When I started off in this industry, well, I still am a nerd at heart. Sometimes I feel like I jibber, and I don't know what I'm talking about half the time, And before I used to be very self-conscious about that. But you know what? I realized like when I talk to other people, they're so open with their story to say, girl, I don't know what I'm talking about either. Oh, okay. I'm all right then. Find those women that give you confidence, and they give you confidence because they are authentic with their stories. They tell you about their challenges. They don't hide it. They don't try to mirror, sort of like when you go onto social media and everybody has like this film to look a certain way. They don't do all that. They said, look, this is my filter. I have no filter. I am who I am. Right. So my advice to women is to be okay with your flaws, because your flaws are your superpower. And once you kind of learn how to use your flaws to your advantage, you will be so thankful that you did, because it's really what's going to make your imprint in whatever you do, no matter what industry that you're in.
Love that. That's so true. We have Rose again, who is cheering you on over here. She's like, you're hitting it on the head. She wants to meet people where they are, their true, authentic selves. Thank you, Rose.
Thank you, Rose. Get it, girl.
Now, to celebrate the history part of Women's History Month, is there a woman from history that you find especially inspiring?
Oh, well, I'm biased, but my mother and my grandmother, honestly, I would take this computer downstairs and go introduce you to my grandmother, but she got her head wrap on, so she might be mad if I did. But and my great grandmother, who literally just passed last year at 103, because they have seen life to no extent. And sometimes when I'm in my fields and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so hard, they're looking at me like, baby, you don't know what hard is. Okay. And sometimes you need that reality check, because they just kind of remind you what I'm capable of, to be able to get over like the hurdles and the challenges. And there's no way I would have the thick skin that I would have if they weren't telling me the horror stories they had to deal with. So very thankful for my mother and my grandmother and my great grandmother. And really along the way, I have seen, even in your stories, you share pictures with your mother, and a lot of the women that I meet, that I get to meet their mothers, and I'm like, look at all these amazing legacy elegant women that have created this entire community of gorgeous chicks here, these boss ladies. And so I'm just like, I want to shout out to all those mothers, because Adelia, you and I couldn't be here if it wasn't for our mamas investing into us the way that they have. And even, our grandmothers as well. So I think all mothers, to the mothers of the world and the daughters and everything, they get their flowers, their crowns, and their kudos for getting us here.
Love that. I love that. Thank you. That's such a good reminder. That is, I'm like, I need to make sure my mom feels that she is really recognized. Right, exactly. I'm going to call her. Well, Vanessa, the time has gone by so quickly. Today's conversation again has been empowering. And before we do let you go, though, I'll bring up your profiles again. But where can our viewers connect with you? And do you have any final thoughts?
Yes. So first, where viewers can connect with me. So Cloud9 Studios, which I think is on the platform popping up. Yeah. Also, Taste of Olives is my personal handle on Instagram. And then I don't even know my underscore for it. Cloud9 _ I think Life Studios on Instagram as well. So Adelia did an amazing job. I just putting it up there, so I didn't really have to remember it. So if I told you the wrong name, sorry. But just keep really sitting with ourselves every single day. We have an opportunity in the morning, the first thing in the morning, to wake up and say, I'm going to make a choice today. I'm going to make a choice to show up for myself. I know it's going to get hard. I know that there's, ebbs and flows and waves where life just feels like I am coasting and then I'm crashing. But just remember that with every crash, there is a lesson to be learned in that, because it's going to take us back up that wave. And everybody that surrounds you, every opportunity that surrounds you is an opportunity to turn it into luck. The people that you meet, the relationships that you build, the email that you answer, it doesn't matter how minute it is. It is the way of, for me, it's the universe reaching out to you to communicate and guide you to where your higher purpose is. And if you just trust and believe, don't ask the how, because the how is you're just going to get there. But just trust that you're going to get there and it will happen. And know that there are people around you that are living the same life that you are, and they love you for even trying. So that's my cup of tea.
Amazing. Perfect way to end. Again, thank you, Vanessa, for joining us today, for sharing your insight. Everybody definitely check out Cloud9 Studios. We did show you Vanessa's Instagram as well. Be sure to connect with her, follow her. And if you are a brand interested in any of those 3 events, again, I'm putting it back up on the screen, _9studios.com.
And Rose, you and I, let's connect, girl.
Yes. Well, thank you again, Vanessa. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I love you. Yeah.
And thank you all for joining us today as we all dove into this amazing advice and insight from Vanessa. Again, shout out to this week's sponsor, Fourtwenty Collections, which is a minority and women-owned luxury skincare, edibles, and apparel line, for supporting our Blunt Brunch mission of empowering women executives. Thank you all again for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and save the date for next Tuesday, as Parisa will be joined with Marie as they dive into next month's blunt topic. See you soon. Bye.